The walls of Elmina Castle had seen many things. They had heard the cries of captives, felt the weight of heavy chains, and held secrets that no one dared to speak. But on this night, something happened that had never happened before. A woman named Amma sat in the dungeon, surrounded by other captives. Her body trembled, sweat dripped from her forehead. She was about to give birth. The other women whispered among themselves, "A baby is coming." "No," an old woman said, "2 babies." The dungeon fell silent. "Twins." Amma screamed in pain. A baby's cry filled the air. "It's a boy," the old woman whispered. Amma took a deep breath. Then another wave of pain hit her. Moments later, a second cry echoed through the dungeon. "A girl." The women exchanged nervous glances. In some villages, twins were seen as a blessing. In others, they were feared. No one knew how the castle's rulers would react. A guard standing near the iron gate heard the cries. His face was stiff, his eyes cold. He turned and walked away. The women knew what that meant. The castle had a rule. Anything unusual must be reported. The governor of the castle sat in his grand chamber, sipping from a golden cup. The air smelled of burning candles and foreign spices. A soldier entered and bowed. "Sir, a woman has given birth in the dungeon." The governor barely looked up. "And?" The soldier hesitated. "She had twins." Now the governor put his cup down. "Twins!" Beside him, a priest dressed in long robes leaned forward. "Sir, among their people, twins are special. Some say they bring power. Some say they bring trouble." The governor laughed. "Power? What power can 2 babies have?" The priest's voice dropped to a whisper. "There is an old belief that harming twins brings misfortune." The governor smirked. "Misfortune? This castle stands strong. The sea bows before us." He turned to the soldier. "Take the twins away and make sure their mother does not cause trouble." The soldier nodded and left. The priest sighed. He had warned them. Now, only time would tell what the spirits would do. Amma sat in the dungeon, holding her babies close. The other women whispered. "They will take them away," one said. Amma's heart pounded. "I won't let that happen." An old servant named Koko knelt beside her. "There is a way," she whispered. Amma looked at her with hope. "Tell me." Koko leaned closer. "There is a fisherman named Ebo. He can take them out by sea." Amma swallowed hard. "Will they be safe?" Koko touched her arm. "The sea carries both danger and hope, but it is their only chance." Amma looked at her babies. "Then we must do it." That night, while the soldiers laughed and drank, Koko led Amma through a secret tunnel beneath the castle. At the tunnel's end, waves rushed in. A small wooden boat rocked against the stone wall. Ebo, the fisherman, held out his arms. "Give them to me," he whispered. Amma kissed her babies, tears streaming down her face. "Be strong, my children." She placed them in a basket lined with cloth. The sea roared as Ebo paddled away. Amma collapsed against the tunnel wall. Koko held her. "The gods will guide them," she whispered. But neither of them saw the shadow watching from the darkness. A soldier had seen everything. The next morning, the governor was furious. "Find the fisherman! Find the twins!" Soldiers rushed to the shore, but the sea had already carried the boat far away. Ebo paddled with all his strength. The babies lay quietly, as if they knew they had to be silent. But suddenly, a dark shape appeared in the water, a ship, and on the ship, soldiers. "They are coming," Ebo gasped. He paddled faster, his arms burning. The shore was close, but the ship was closer. Then, just as the soldiers raised their weapons, a massive wave rose behind them. The ship rocked violently. Soldiers stumbled. Ebo seized the moment and paddled toward land. The twins were safe, for now. On the shore, an old woman named Mame Sewa was gathering firewood. She saw Ebo running toward her, carrying a basket. "What is this?" she asked. Ebo gasped for breath. "Children, the castle, danger." Mame Sewa looked inside the basket. Her eyes softened. "The sea has given them to us." She took the twins in her arms. "They will be safe here." Kwabena and Adwa grew strong in the village. Kwabena had a way with the sea. He knew when storms would come. Fishermen followed his advice, and their nets were always full. Adwa had a voice that calmed even the wildest animals. When she sang, sick people felt better. One evening, an old traveler arrived. He saw the twins and froze. "Where did these children come from?" he asked. Mame Sawa hesitated. "Why do you ask?" The traveler's voice was heavy. "Because they were born in Elmina Castle." The twins stared. "The castle?" The traveler nodded. "Your mother was Ama. She never stopped waiting for you." The twins had to see for themselves. When they reached Elmina Castle, the air felt heavy. The walls seemed to whisper. They stepped inside. Soldiers watched them closely. An old woman sweeping the floor gasped. "It cannot be." "Kokor?" Kwabena asked. Tears filled her eyes. "You survived." She led them to the dungeon. "Your mother, she was punished for your escape." Kwabena clenched his fist. "Where is she?" Koko's voice trembled. "Gone, but her spirit remains." Koko took them to a secret room. Inside, dust-covered papers lay on a table. She picked one up. "Your mother wrote these letters for you." Adwa took one and read. "My children, if you find this, know that I loved you. The castle tried to break me, but I stayed strong, knowing you were safe. One day, you will return. And when you do, you must set the spirits free." Kwabena and Adwa looked at each other. They knew what they had to do. The twins stood by the sea, holding their mother's letters. "We must set them free," Adwa whispered. Kwabena nodded. They built a small fire. One by one, they placed the letters in the flames. As the fire rose, a strong wind blew from the sea. The waves roared, the castle groaned, and then silence. The spirits were free. The twins turned back, their mother's voice echoing in the wind. "My little stars, you are home." The fire burned low, the last of the letters turning to ashes. Kwabena and Adwa stood in silence, watching the wind carry the smoke into the sky. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed from the castle. The ground shook. The walls trembled. The villagers near the castle gasped. "What is happening?" The governor, now an old man, rushed to his balcony. His face paled. "What have they done?" The priest beside him whispered, "The spirits, they are free." The governor's hands shook. "No, I control this castle. I rule this land." The wind roared like 1,000 voices speaking at once. The air grew heavy. The governor fell to his knees, gripping his chest. "You cannot escape," the priest whispered. "The curse has come." The governor let out a final gasp, then collapsed. The castle doors swung open. The soldiers, afraid, dropped their weapons and ran. The spirits of the forgotten were finally free. After the castle grew quiet, Kwabena and Adwe knew there was one last thing they had to do. Koko led them to an old wooden door deep inside the castle. "Your mother once spoke of this room," she said. "It holds secrets that should never be forgotten." The twins pushed the door open. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old paper. Shelves lined the walls, filled with books, scrolls, and records. Adwa picked up a faded scroll. She unrolled it and gasped. This is a list of people taken from our village." Kwabena grabbed another scroll. And these are names of the ones who never made it across the sea. The twins exchanged a look. Their mother had not only left behind letters, she had left behind the truth. "We must take this to the people," Kwabena said. "This is their history," Adwa whispered. The twins left the castle, carrying the scrolls wrapped in cloth. The villagers gathered around them. "What happened?" an elder asked. Kwabena took a deep breath. "The spirits are free, and we found something that belongs to all of us." They unrolled the scrolls, reading the names of the lost. Some villagers cried, others whispered prayers. A woman stepped forward. "My grandmother used to tell a story about her father who never returned from the castle. His name, it is here." An elder placed a hand on Kwabena's shoulder. "You have done something great." The village chief nodded. "This history was stolen from us. Now we will remember." That night, the village held a ceremony by the shore. Fires burned bright. Drums echoed across the waves. One by one, villagers spoke the names of those taken long ago. As the final name was spoken, the sea became still. The wind, which had howled all day, suddenly stopped. Then, a glow appeared on the horizon. It was faint, like the light of 1,000 tiny stars dancing on the water. Adwa felt a chill. "Do you see that?" Kwabena nodded. "They are here." The spirits of their ancestors had returned, not in anger, not in sorrow, but in peace. The sea had finally released them. Days passed. The castle remained empty. The people refused to go near it. One morning, Kwabena stood on a hill, looking toward the old stone walls. "What will happen to the castle now?" Adwa asked. Kwabena exhaled. "It should not be a place of fear anymore." The village elders agreed. They called the people together and made a decision. "We will turn it into a place of learning," the chief said. "A place where the truth will never be buried again." Over time, the castle became a place where people came to remember, to tell the stories of those who had been lost and honor their spirits. And the twins grew into leaders. Kwabena became a great fisherman, teaching others the ways of the sea. Adwa became a healer, using her voice to bring comfort and strength. But no matter where they went, they always returned to the castle to stand on its walls and listen to the waves. One evening, as they stood by the shore, an old woman approached. It was Koko. She smiled. "Your mother would be proud." Kwabena and Adwa smiled back. They were no longer just the twins who had escaped Elmina Castle. They were the ones who brought back the truth, and their story would never be forgotten.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an exciting new tale. See you in the next one.